Next.st. Good to see you back, guys. Again, I'm back with a new tutorial related DOM traversal methods. And in this tutorial, we are going to learn next sibling and previous sibling. In our previous tutorials, we learned about parent node, children, first child element, etc. And in this tutorial, we are going to cover next element sibling, next sibling, previous element sibling, previous sibling. Before start the practical, let's try to understand what is the difference between next sibling and previous sibling. Here you can see a DOM chart. Here A is the parent element and B, C, D, E, F is the child element of A. And these are all sibling elements. And if I ask you who is the next sibling of D element, and the answer is E. E is the next sibling of D element. And if I ask you who is the previous sibling of D, and the answer is C. So that's the basic difference between these two elements, next and previous. If I want to find the previous sibling of B element, as you can see, there is no previous sibling of B element, but there is the next sibling of B element, which is C. So without wasting your time, let's start the practical and try to clear the concepts. As you can see, side by side, I open my Visual Studio Code editor and my browser using Live Server extension, and I already created an HTML document named index.html. And as you can see in my browser, we have outer div, inner div, and some child elements. You are already familiar with this structure. So let's jump into the main.js file. So at first, we are going to start with next element sibling. As you can see in my main.js file, we already target this element, this C element, using its ID, child-c. If I show you my index.html file, you can see the ID name, child-c. So here I'm going to type next element sibling, next element sibling, and I'm going to save this file. After save this file, as you can see, it's written our next element, which is D. Similarly, if I return previous sibling, so I'm going to duplicate this line and comment out previous one, and here I'm going to type previous element sibling, previous element sibling. After save this file, you can see it's written B element, this one. So using those functions, we can target previous element, otherwise next element. After target this element, also we can apply style. Let me show you. So here I'm going to type dot style dot background equal to, inside the double quotes, red. After save this file, you can see the result. So as you can see, it adds red background color to the previous element. Also, if you want to return the HTML of this element, yes, you can. Just you need to type dot inner HTML. If I set this file, you can see in my console, it's written only character B. And now I want to return the next element sibling of E element. For that, I'm back to the index.html file. And here, I'm going to set an ID to this element. ID equal to child E. And I'm going to set this file. And here, I'm going to type child E. And I want to return the next sibling of this element. So here I'm going to type next element sibling. If I set this file, as you can see in my console, it's written null. Because after E element, there is no sibling element. That's why it's written null. And if you want to apply any style, then it's going to return error in our console. Because there is no element after E element. These two methods are used to target elements. But our next two methods can target anything. It can target text nodes, otherwise comments, etc. You are already familiar with that. Now I'm going to use next sibling method and previous sibling method. So again, I'm going to duplicate this line and comment out previous one. And I'm going to type previous sibling. Previous sibling. If I save this file, as you can see in my browser, it's written text. It's written a text node. And as you can see, it's written a new line character. And if you remove the new line character between D and E, then it's going to return D element in my console. If I try to remove the new line character and if I save this file, for now it's not going to work for me. Because my Visual Studio Code editor automatically prettify my code and add a new line to end of this any HTML element. So if I save this file, as you can see, it add a new line. That's why again it return text node. Somehow, if you can remove the new line character from this line, in that case, it's going to return D element. At the same way, nextSibling method works. If I type nextSibling here, nextSibling, and then save this file, as you can see, again it returns text node. Because this function can count character, spaces, comments as a JavaScript node. That's why it's returned text.